Hi everybody, welcome to lesson 3 of the Roger Hudson guitar method. Today we have some noisy neighbors, we have barking dogs, we have loud trucks going by, but we're going to try it anyway. So we're starting on page 12, and what we're going to do is start playing the notes on the frets. Let's get in tune first. 6th string. 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, playing an E major chord. When you're fretting the notes, pushing down a string on the fret, make sure that you're playing with the very tip of your finger, and make sure that you're playing just to the left as you look down at the fret, just to the left of the fret, not right on the fret. If you play right on the fret, you get that sort of sound. If you play the note too far down this direction, you start to get a buzzing sound. So the closer you are to the fret, the clearer the sound that you'll get. And actually it takes less pressure to push that string down. What you're trying to do is you're trying to push the string to where it hits the fret securely. You're not trying to press the string all the way to the wood. It's just to the actual fret, which is the metal. So the string, your finger pushes the string and it hits the fret, and that changes the pitch. Okay? So we're going to start on page 12. Our first fret, first finger, first string note is F. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Also, make sure your thumb is not, your left-hand thumb is not sticking way up like this, because you need to be able to stretch eventually. Stretch your fingers up. If your thumb is way up like this, you can't really stretch. Your thumb, you can stretch much farther if your thumb is down. So make sure your left-hand thumb is about in the middle of the neck. All right, exercise 1. Page 12. We're going to be playing a bass note with a fretted note. The bass note is going to be the 4th string. Use P and use M on the 1st string. Go ahead and plant P on the 4th string, M on the 1st string. Exercise 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exercise 2, page 12. Now we're going to start off with a 5th string bass note. P is going to be planted on the 5th string. M should be planted on the 1st string. And your first finger is on the F on the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exercise 3 on page 12. Start on the 5th string. Your thumb is on the 5th, your P is on the 5th string. Put M on the 1st string. First finger should be on the first string, first fret, first finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next exercise, we're going to introduce the G, which is the third finger, third fret, first string, G. This next exercise is in 3/4 time. Use I and M in alternation. This is third fret, first string. 1, 2, 3. The next exercise is called Watch the Dots. In Watch the Dots, we're going to be using an open first string. We're going to be using the F, first fret, first string, and we're going to also be using third finger, third fret, first string. So these three notes, okay? You might even want to practice doing this a little bit, getting used to doing that, and going back down. Okay, let's try Watch the Dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. One of the things that you can do to make sure that you get back to the first finger note after you play a third finger note is go ahead and leave that first finger down when you play the third finger note. So when you go up to the third fret, go ahead and just leave the first finger down. If you know you're going to be coming back, just leave it there, because that way you'll already be there. A lot of times when students do this, they end up getting out of position, and then when they have to do this note again, they have to jump back. So go ahead and just try to leave it down, okay? In OPA, the next one, we're going to play also the first three notes that we're learning on the first string, E, F, and G. We're going to start off with the F note, however, and it's going to be repeated. And one of the things that are sort of fun to do about this song, Opa is something that you might hear in Greece when people are celebrating. And a lot of times when they're dancing, people are dancing, they'll say Opa, like that. And sometimes it sort of goes faster and faster. So I'm going to try this, we're going to play Opa, and we're going to sort of go faster every time we repeat it. So I'm going to repeat it probably 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? See if you can do that very slowly and cleanly at first, and then gradually build up speed every time that you repeat it. On page 13, we're going to do an exercise in 3/4 time. This is called E, F, G in 3. You start with your third finger down. Third finger is G. Third finger, first string, third fret. 1, 2, 3. The next one is called Flying on the First String. Flying on the first string is a really good exercise. I recommend that you try to memorize it. And because it's a good warm-up exercise, you want to start off with your third finger down and your first finger down as well, because you're going to be going third finger, first finger like that, up and back like this. These are all eighth notes with the exception of half notes that end each phrase. There's a four measure phrase and a half note ends it. So we're going to be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Here we go. Flying on the first string, page 13. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Some of you may have noticed that I actually started the second line of this with my M finger on the right hand instead of my I. It says I am. With alternation, it really doesn't matter that much whether you start with M, I. Most of the time, if you're playing single line melodies like what we're doing here, we're not playing bass notes. The main thing is to alternate, just to make sure you're alternating. We're going to do this one more time, a little slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good. That's a good exercise to get the left hand fingers moving. The next exercise is B, the second string open, page 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. That's the second string open, B. The next exercise is called Ancient Waltz, page 13. We will be using P on the sixth string. We will be using I on the second string, open. We'll be using M on the first string. At the end of the piece, the last three measures, you'll have a little section that is a little melody without the bass note. So make sure that that doesn't take you by surprise. So here's Ancient Waltz. This is in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. Our last exercise on page 13 is introducing the C, which is first finger, first fret, second string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Continuing our lesson 3 exercises on page 14, we're going to be playing the land of the PIMA. This is sort of a play on words, PIMA being P-I-M-A. There's also a Native American tribe called the PIMA in the southwest of the United States. Okay, in land of the PIMA, you're going to need to have your P on the 5th string, planted on the 5th string, I on the 3rd string, M on the 2nd string, and A on the 1st string. So go ahead and have those planted on these strings because that's what you're going to be playing. On the left hand, everything is open. The 5th string is open, the 3rd string is open, but the 1st finger is that C that we just introduced, the C which is on the second string, first fret. The next note is the first string open, so you don't have to worry about fretting there. So there's really only one note in this exercise that's fretted, and that's going to be the C. Here we go, Land of the PIMA, page 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next note that we're going to learn is the D, which is third fret, second string, third finger. This exercise is in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. The next exercise is called Big Chicken Dance. People have a lot of fun with this song. It's a silly song, as it says. Have some fun with it. See if you can sing the words while you play the notes. I'll go ahead and play it without singing the words, and then I'll sing the words as I play. The notes that you're going to be using are the second string notes, B, C, and D. That's why it's called Big Chicken Dance, B, C, D. And then the third string note is in here as an accompaniment note, third string open. So you can go ahead and put P on the third string because you will play that. Here we go, 1, 2. The next exercise is called Simple Scale Study, page 14. So we're going to start off with C, which is on the second string, first fret, D, third fret, second string, open first string, first fret, first string, third fret, first string, and then we're going to go back down and we're going to end it back on the C. So here is Simple Scale Study, page 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 15, we have Siamese Catwalk. Siamese Catwalk is a combination of a melody and some accompaniment notes, some bass notes. So you want to go ahead and have your right-hand thumb, P, on the sixth string. So if you'll notice, there are sixth string notes that you need to put in there every once in a while. We'll start off with the first string open, but have that right-hand thumb ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crossing the Desert, page 15. This is mostly eighth notes. It's a good exercise, another good one to get warmed up with if you want to memorize it. It's a really good one to warm up with. Crossing the desert is I and M in alternation on the right hand. And we'll be using first string notes and second string notes. So here's Crossing the Desert. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... If you notice, my left-hand fingers sometimes look like that I'm fretting a note when I'm not fretting a note. When I'm playing an open string, it almost looks like that I'm playing a note. You can see it a little better from this angle. For example, that's because I'm not even picking my fingers up very much at all on the left hand. You don't want to play like this, where if you have an open string, your hand's way up like this, and then all of a sudden you have to play a note. You need to have those fingers already hovering over those notes. Even if you're just playing open strings, go ahead and still have those fingers hovering over those notes, because they need to get down there very quickly. And if they're 4 inches away from the place they need to be, it's going to be too late. By the time you need to play it, your fingers won't be where they need to be. So make sure you're hovering right over those strings. The next exercise, which is the last exercise of page 15, is called Jumping G's. These are both G notes. So what I'm illustrating here is that you have G here and G here. This is why it's important for you to read the notes and not to write letter names over the notes, because you'll be reading letter names instead of the actual notes. So be careful. Try not to write all the letter names in above the notes, because some notes have the same exact letter name, but they're in 2 completely different places, or sometimes as many as 5 different places. So you're playing the 3rd string G and this 1st string G. They're both G's. But when you see each one, you need to make sure you know which one you're supposed to be playing. So here is Jumping G's. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's another really good exercise for string crossing, because you have to go from the 3rd string to the 1st string, back to the 3rd string, skipping over the 2nd string while you're still alternating. So there's a lot to do at the same time, but it's a simple exercise. Continuing with lesson 3, page 16. At the top of the page, we're going to introduce a 2nd fret note. This will be the first 2nd fret note that we've had so far. It's an A, 2nd fret, 3rd string. And the reason why it's a 2nd fret is because G to A is a whole step. G is a whole step is 2 frets. So open 3rd string to A is considered a whole step. So you're going 0, fret 0, which is open, to fret number 2. A whole step is 2 frets. When we were on the 1st string, we had E, which is open, and then F. E to F is a half step, and then F to G, which is a whole step, 2 frets. The same thing with 2nd string. We had B to C. Those are half steps. B to C is a half step, 1 fret. C to D is a whole step, 2 frets. So we're just doing natural notes right now. We're not doing sharps and flats. We'll do that later. So when you get to the 3rd string, you have a G, and then you have A. Okay? So at the top of page 16, we're going to do A. Make sure your 2nd finger is playing on the 2nd fret. Don't use the 1st finger. Use the 2nd finger. Don't use the 3rd finger. Leave it. You have the same finger for the same number of fret that you're playing for right now. Later on, you'll be playing fingers all over the place, but for now, keep your fingers lined up with the fret that you're on. Here we are at the top of page 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to play G to G. These are the natural notes going from the 3rd string G all the way up to the high G. We played, when we did jumping Gs, we played the G and the G. Now we're going to be playing all the notes that happen in between those 2 Gs, all the natural notes. G to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right. The next exercise is a familiar song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. This is a good one for string crossing on the right hand and alternation. Make sure you're using I and M on the right hand. You're going to be playing the 3rd string open, and you're going to be playing all the notes except for the fretted 1st string notes. We won't be playing an F, and you won't be playing a G on the 1st string. You will be playing an open 1st string, however. Here's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, page 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep in mind that in Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, there is a lot of repetition. There's this first phrase, then there's the next phrase, then there's another phrase, then that phrase happens again. Then we're back to the first phrase. And the second phrase. In the next exercise, we're going to be playing just 3 notes. We're going to be playing the A, 3rd string, 2nd fret. We're going to be playing the open 3rd string, and we're going to be playing the 1st finger 2nd string. Now, in order to play this easily, go ahead and leave the 1st finger down on the 2nd string. Now, the rhythm in this is called a swing, which means that instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're going to have a little swing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's used a lot in blues and jazz, and it's not really written in, you have to just sort of feel it. So here's how blues lick goes. This is page 16, blues lick. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, if you want to try to play it without leaving the 1st finger down, because sometimes when you get this sound, you might not like that if it's held down. If you want to do that and push that 1st finger down, just make sure you barely take it off of the fret and have it hovering right over that note. So it sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... next exercise, 4-string combo, we'll be using notes that are on the 3rd string, 4th string, 2nd string, and 1st string. P is going to be playing 3rd string and 4th string notes. I and M are going to be playing the 1st and 2nd string notes. 4-string combos in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. Page 17 is a well-known song written by Ludwig van Beethoven, and it's called Ode to Joy. It's part of his Symphony No. 9. Here's Ode to Joy. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the interesting things about Ode to Joy is the use of a tie. If you look at the 3rd line down, it says, "This is a tie, let the 2nd note ring but do not pick it." So when you have 2 notes that are the same note and they're connected by a curved line, that is called a tie. That means you don't play the 2nd note again, but you let it ring for the same amount of time that you normally would be playing it. So if you look at the 3rd line down, when you play this, okay, you have to play that note. Try this again. I'll count it for you. So this is the 3rd line. It's the 5th measure from the end of the song. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Okay? Sometimes you'll hear versions that don't have that in Beethoven's actual piece. Sometimes he has it and sometimes he doesn't have it. I thought I would put it in just to make it sort of interesting. Okay, the next exercise is called IGOR'S Dance. Page 17. For IGOR'S Dance, go ahead and have the 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, which is A, the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. Go ahead and hold those down. The right hand is going to be playing P on the 5th string, I is going to play the 3rd string, M, 2nd string, and A on the 1st string, just like what we did in Land of the PIMA. So here's IGOR'S Dance, page 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you can get it going fast, it sounds like this. If you'll notice in measure 3 of Igor's dance, I have a number 4 next to a note that's really on the 3rd fret. And the reason I'm doing that is I want you to get used to the idea of putting your fourth finger down on 3rd fret notes occasionally to help you to prepare for another note that needs to happen. The 2nd finger note is going to happen in the next measure. So it's a little bit more reliable if you use the 4th finger here, because your 2nd finger is really positioned over that 2nd fret really well. Whereas if your 3rd finger's over here, your 2nd finger is positioned more over the 3rd fret. So try to get in the habit of doing that like that, 4th finger. You don't have to do it all the time. It's just sometimes it makes it a lot cleaner when you're doing your phrasing. The next exercise is Mystery Castle. And this is also one where you need to have your fingers down, 3rd finger down on the 2nd string and 1st finger down on the 1st string. Hold them like it's a chord. So your P on the right hand is going to be playing 4th string bass notes and 5th string bass notes. I and M are going to be playing 2nd string and 1st string notes, also some 3rd string notes in there as well. Mystery Castle is in 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. See you in lesson 4.